All right. Happy Sabbath. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to another lesson. Hope everybody had a good week. And it's the weekend, the last day of the week. So Sunday will refresh your week. So if you didn't have a good week last week, try to have a good one this week. Today's lesson is called
Restoring the Black Community.
Restoring the Black Community.
So Shabbat Shalom, y'all. Hopefully by now, you understand it's the Sabbath. You're trying to keep the Sabbath, things like that. This is what we do. This is a normal thing for us. But if it's your first time hearing anything about the Sabbath, I always say go and do your own research out in the Bible. You'll find out it's not the first day of the week. It's the seventh day of the week. The word Sabbath is rest. Seventh day is what we rest on, and we're rested from work, really of all any kind of work. So you shouldn't be working for anyone else. You shouldn't be trying to do work for yourself. This is a day that should be dedicated to the Most High and yourself and your family. As far as y'all enjoying one another. And 6 days you do everything else, and this day, take the time out to get the Most High His praise. So we got a few things that's going on in the world today, and I can't cover everything like I want to, but I got some things I'm working on. So depending on how can I say it? Depending on how things go, I'll decide which route I'll take. But it's a lot of stuff that goes on, and people don't talk about it. People don't how can I say it? People don't acknowledge it. And I'm not a big person on awareness. I know everybody talks about awareness. Well, what does awareness do? It brings to your attention what's going on, right? So you have all types of awareness. You have disease awareness, and that's so many of those. You have conscious awareness, so many avenues you can explore with that. You have awareness for everything. You got awareness for racial groups. You have awareness for all types of stuff. Anything that people want to bring attention to, they throw the word awareness out and put T-shirts together and start talking about it. So today I want to talk about Israelite awareness, restoring the Black community awareness, my people awareness. Am I saying this in a racial way? Yes. Am I saying this in a way to be prejudiced or to show hatred? No. But we got to be realistic here, right? That's just something we have to do. There's a lot of things that go on in the world, and no one talks about these things. And when I say nobody talks about these things, how can I say it? I'm trying to think the best way to say it. No one, matter of fact, yeah, there we go. No one brings awareness to these things. Do y'all know that the Indians suffered right here in this country? The so-called, I say so-called because the more you go into that word Indians, you'll see it's not necessarily what people have been taught, but the so-called Indians have suffered in this country. They got something for it, right? They got reparations, they got casinos, they got reservations, they got all types of stuff, right? The fake Jews, the Jewish, they didn't even really suffer in this country. They suffered in the world, the whole world. That means just like anyone else has, or any other group has suffered, they suffer. But they get acknowledged. There is a Jewish awareness for sure. People sending them money. People say pray for the Jews. While we sit right here and are still suffering, we didn't stop, but we were made to believe that the suffering stopped. We didn't stop. We sit right here and we are still suffering as a people, and no one cares. There's no awareness for it. There's no money being sent for us. As a matter of fact, we are getting worse. People don't even realize we are worse off now than we were in slavery. But if you let someone tell it, man, we equal. That's what they're gonna tell you. We are definitely not equal. We are far from equal. And it's right because this is the work of the Lord as well because of our sins, which eventually we'll talk about that. But as of now, I just want to kind of, bring some things to the attention, man. Why are we in the situation that we're in? Number one, there's an identity crisis, right? No one knows who the black man is. No one cares about the black man. How can I know why I can send money to the Indians and make it tax free for other people that come around? I mean, come from outside the borders. It's easy to keep up with them. Even the so-called Mexicans. It's easy to figure these type of things out. As a matter of fact, why are you right there? Is that my hat right there? Because I just don't even feel right without my hat. What the world going on, man? Oh my God, that is not my hat. Oh, John, they got your little way to move the elevator. Boy, I got him water. And you gonna drink it right away and ain't saying nothing. But it's, oh, he did. Never mind. I forgot. I apologize. My boy, open that thing up. Yes. I don't know what a booing is. That's good enough. I just need something to. I know the people like, who is that? How do you look the same? Let's see. There it is. That now it feels. Matter of fact, hold on. Let's hydrate. All right. Now it feels a whole lot better now. So we know who everyone is. Everyone don't know who we are. We'll sit here and we can point out every other race out here, and this is why. And they got classifications for these things and for these people. This is why they decide to do things the way they do it, because now they can easily give something to other people. They can easily give reparations or money or take or say, well, look, we ain't gonna send money to them, but tax free. Y'all notice the so-called, I say so-called for everybody because a lot of these people are not what people say they are, but the so-called Africans come over here from their country. And if we're supposed to be African American, we are the same as they, supposedly, right? But they come over here, they get a lot of that tax-free stuff, give them money for businesses. They get treated way different. And you know why? Because the world knows that all blacks are not the same. I'm gonna say that one more time because people can't, for whatever reason, they can't understand that. All black people are not the same. Skin tone, complexion, color does not dictate who is who. It doesn't. So, with that being said, obviously for them to have a way that they can look out for everyone but us, they are keeping up with this. They know who is who. Why do you think they keep up with things like the birth certificate and social security number? Yeah, they use it for government things, and yeah, they use it to for their own business, because I do understand the United States is a business as well, corporation and all of that. But they also do this to keep up with us. Nothing wrong with signing papers to be married if that's what you want to do. Nothing wrong with that. It's not mandatory according to the law. But however, originally over here, they was doing that so they could keep up with the black slaves that married the white women. You know why they want to do that? Because the black slave still produces what? An Israelite child. And if they have us in bondage, just because the man decides he wants to go and use someone that's not Israel to have his child with, does not mean that that seed changes. Seed stays the same. No matter what ground I plant an apple seed in, you know what kind of tree gonna grow in it? Apple tree every time. So they said, well, let's keep up with all of these people just deciding to go outside of their nationality for a child because we need to know who is who. Why is it that important? If and a lot of people probably feel like I'm wasting time now, and I'm gonna show you why I'm not. Whenever you get ready to apply for something, whether it be a job, whether it be a loan, whether it be a grant, whether it be school, anything that's government mandated, not even mandated, if the government is involved, you know what they're going to ask you? What is your race? Why does that matter? If you're telling me we're all equal, why does it matter? I tell you what, in sports, I met people who could dribble and shoot equally with both hands, throw the ball equally with both hands. You know what? It wouldn't matter which hand they use, right? I got to sit here and figure out how I'm going to guard this person because they can go left as equal as they can go right. You want to know why left and right matters? Why up and down matters? Because they're not the same. So let's say it's a 2-lane highway. I'm driving this way. You're driving this way. Does left and right matter now? I believe it does. So people will make it seem like these things don't matter, but it does. They're asking these questions for a reason because they have to keep you segregated, separated, so that they can continue to keep you manipulated. And you're always going to have what do they call that? When the innocent bystanders get hit, casualties of war. People that's not involved, but they still got to take the punishment. So they will sacrifice losing some of their own kind, some of their own people, to make sure they keep us bound. Because as long as the Israelite man, woman, / family is bound, everyone else has an opportunity to win. This is why we're going through a 4-beast world kingdom. Because everyone else gets a chance to rule us because of our sin and downfall. So if you think that these people knew we were the children of God and they decided we don't care who's who. If you think that that's how they're thinking, you're gonna be hurt at some point because it's all gonna come out. So if we're talking about restoring the Black community, these are the things you got to understand first. You got to understand that the Black community is the Israelite community. You got to understand that all Blacks are not the same. You got to understand that the agenda on people is not the same. This is why people get treated differently. This is why classifications are out there to keep up with who is who. It's no need to have that if it doesn't matter. There's a lot of things in life that don't matter, and you should be able to look at how those things are treated and tell, yeah, something's different about this. Everything I do, they want to know if I'm Black, if I'm white, or am I Hispanic. Why does that matter in this country? Because there's 3 levels in this country. At the top, there's white. In the middle, there's Hispanic. And at the bottom, there's Black. There's 3 levels of treatment. There's 3 levels of it used to be 3 levels of education. There's 3 levels of financial. They try to make it seem like now, well, the only color that matters is green because we have people divided now into financial classes. And they do to a degree, but even within those financial classes, you'll see we got broke Black and we got broke white. You know what I mean? We got rich Black, we got rich white. It's out there. And, it's so much out there. I didn't even pull up all that. I started looking at some of that information. And I'm like, it's too much. You just got to do your own research on that. So with that being said, let me see something real quick. All right. How did we get to this point? We know sin is how we got here spiritually, but physically, what did they do? Absolutely. They slaved us. And do you know what came with slavery? So let me be more specific. Yes, work. But what came along with slavery is politics. But see, politics, people think about the government all the time. There's politics in everything. There's politics at your local job, at your local grocery store. All grocery stores don't even get the same quality of food. Depending on where your grocery store is located, your food may cost a different amount. It would be a different, all you gotta do is shop around. You'll see it'll be a different quality. And they do this by keeping up with certain things, and we'll get to that. But see, what they did is in slavery, that was the beginning of breaking up the black family. So there's power in numbers, right? If you don't believe that, just read the scriptures where it says if one could put a flight, I think it say 3,000, two could put a flight 10,000. There's power in numbers. 5 is stronger than 2, but 10 is stronger than 5, right? It's kind of, common sense to it. So if we have numbers within the community and we need to split that up, how do we split that up and who does that affect? You split that up by targeting and attacking each individual household, because each individual Israelite household is supposed to be ran by who? The father, right? And that is an example of how the Father in heaven runs it, right? Mm-hmm. So if you got a father and you got a wife who usually carries the attributes of the Holy Spirit, and you have a son, that's the same reflection as the heavens, right? Mm-hmm. Well, what does the Bible say that you have to do to bring the house down? You got to bring the house up, but who do you attack?
The Father.
The Father. The Bible says if you got to bound the strong man. Who's the strong man in the house? The dad, right? So if we can break him down, that's going to affect the women and the kids. Well, they can't come into the house and just beat you up, because the women and the kids are going to stick together and feel sorry for their dad. So we have to have the displacement that we have today. What they had to do was go in there and turn everyone against one another. But the scriptures say at some point the children and the wife would rule over the man, right? The scriptures also say that the children would be against the father against the children against the mother. So they knew this is the plan. So how do we do this? We're gonna give that black woman some things that the black man can't give her, because the black man is oppressed in a country in which everything is against him. So he's working twice as hard. And so is she, because she's trying to help him and run the house while he's gone. So the government steps in and says, well, how about this? Even though your Bible says this is the head, and that you are a weaker vessel, keyword vessel, you're still a vessel, meaning God is still going to use you. He just uses him in the stronger way. Don't worry about him. I'm going to promote you up here. How do we do that? They infiltrated the churches, and they made the woman able to sit in the seat of the man. And back in the day, people used to say it's because the man don't want to come to church. The man ain't the church want nothing to come to. Let's be honest. They won't keep no law, statute, commandments the way they're supposed to. They're going on the wrong day. They got idols in the temple. The church has been out of pocket for a long time. And that's no knock on the woman, because the man was the one running the church. However, church has not mattered for years, because the Bible even prophesied a spirit of deep sleep that will fall upon the people. And this is why they no longer teach God's principles and values through the church. This is why your average person in the black church wants to vote for someone who goes completely against the Bible. That's a whole nother topic. Just showing you the infiltration of the black church that they have, because they told you it was a separation of church and state. But I guarantee you, your pastor trying to get you to vote for somebody. So with that being said, they said, look, let's make it, we're going to call the woman the mother of the church. Well, show me that in the Bible. Who do you think the father of the church is in the Bible? Who would be, biblically speaking, or spiritually speaking, who would be the father of the church? Wouldn't it be the Father, right? And then, the next person in line would be Christ. So if you're saying we're dealing with the Christ and we're not dealing with the Father, then you would say Christ. which we can go in the Old Testament and show him being referred to as a father, right? So how could the woman jump over the man and be the mother of the church then? Have y'all ever noticed nobody go to the men's section and be like, that's the father of the church right there? They go to the women's section and say, that's the mother of the church. But these things are Catholic practices now, don't get me wrong. This was not intended to be used for the biblical practices nor principles. It was Catholic. However, people don't understand that your typical denomination is a spin-off of the Catholic Church. So we are doing things by tradition, but not our tradition, which is why the Bible said, look, take hold to our traditions, but if they come into you and it's outside of this Bible, I ain't saying it's wrong, but you better double check it. So with that being said, they went into the church, the most spiritual place, our foundation at the time. Whether we understood Christ or not, in our heart, that's our foundation. And they went right in there and broke it up. Still to this day. So now they got people who live crazy lifestyles, teaching the Bible, administering the music to you, mother of the church. So that's one way that they did it. They separated us through church. Then they said, all right, we're going to pay the woman equally to what we pay the man. Now, somebody would be like, well, if they're doing the same job, they deserve the same thing. And I'm not here to argue that. What I'm saying is what that did. See, sometimes things can sound good, but not be good for you. But people don't appreciate the way that God has set it up. From the get-go, people are already mad at God. So they don't want to take it out on God. They'll take it out on man or woman. But originally, men were the ones that was bringing in the most. Not saying women couldn't now. You read that virtuous woman, she was getting down. But all I'm saying is when you're talking about giving them the same pay in the household, now that makes her feel like, well, I'm just as valuable as you in this same area. They're both just as valuable as each other, but in different areas. Now she's taking over his area, and she's better with the young child. So now that kind of puts him behind. And then the government said, well, you know what? Now that we got these women's rights coming along, see, these things don't oppose nobody's belief system, because you got some people that's going to tell you the black woman is God. You got some people, like some certain people that's running for president. I ain't going to get into all that right now, but they, in other places, they got other gods. They got men gods, women gods, all kind of stuff. So, when you are biblically speaking, those things are very, very very much out of line. But when you take someone else's culture and apply it to the children of Israel, it brings them down. Because there's only one way to do things for us, and that way is Christ through his word. So what happens is it's okay for everybody else. It don't affect them the same way it affects us. What happens with us is they say, well, the woman that's not making that much, the woman that is in a situation financially, especially if she got an immature man and they done already started off kind of slow in life, how about we give her some help? Help sounds good, right? Till you realize what it comes with, we're going to give you EBT. That sounds good, right? We'll give you WIC. We're going to give you some basically free child care. So when you have to work, you can drop that baby off at the daycare and let somebody else raise your child. Send your child to school, let somebody else raise your child. Then when they get off the bus, they can go to the daycare so you can get there about 6 o'clock. We're going to let other people raise your child for you. And we're going to instill the principles and values into those people who are qualified to raise your child. Have y'all noticed that you can't start your own daycare without going and getting the qualifications? It's because they have to instill their American principles in you and then send you to do these things. So now your children are being raised by a government system. And you don't even understand that because you're thinking everything is okay because you got to work 9-10 hours, drive to work, drive home, eat on the way home, cook when you get home. You don't have time for your children. So through slavery, because that's still modern slavery. Through slavery, they've already separated you from your spouse and your children. Then they said, we're going to give you free assistance, but there's a catch. You got to put the dad on child support. So now they arguing and going back and forth because he on child support. And everybody is looking at, well, what's so bad about child support? I never said child support was bad. I don't agree with the way the system works. The system is definitely not for the children. That's easy to see, anybody that's being honest. It's definitely not for the children. It's definitely not a system based off equality. However, that's another discussion. For what we're talking about, that creates division. And now the woman has stepped over the man spiritually because the church did it, and she's done it physically at the house because the government did it. And now the man is at the bottom because he ain't even got no say-so over his kids because he got to pay money to his kids and can't even see them unless the government say so, or his baby mama just decides that, she want to get along with him. This is why we are here today, y'all. This is the Black community. I'm not saying other nations don't go through this, but when you look at the numbers, it's so much of a difference. The other nations, the few people in other nations that go through this, I wouldn't be surprised if they were probably Israel too. It's bad out here, man. They have broken us up. And see, we don't stick together. There's no brotherhood, right? Every time someone tries to do a brotherhood, it's infiltrated, and then, because they go about the foundation wrong. They go about the foundation outside of God's principles. So when you got a person that don't have the same standards as you, you can't hold them to the same principles. So I'm thinking you're moving a certain way and you're not. So some people say, well, why does that matter? That's what divides us. Religion divides. Everybody talking about the Bible. Well, here's the problem. Let's take the Bible out of the question for a second, right? No laws, no statutes, no commandments. We're just going to all come together on some black power, some unity, right? But I got sons and daughters. And some people feel like it's okay to talk to an underage person, whether guy or girl. The Bible tell you you should be going and talking to someone's parents, getting permission, and then you can talk to their daughter. But we take the Bible out, and now what happens is any man can scheme on any other man's daughter. And you know what that creates? Whoredom. You know what the Bible hates? Whoredom. Because a young girl is no match for an older guy. Especially when the older guy don't even have to go through her dad, which would be an older guy, so he could see it coming and say, nah, he ain't the one. They took that out of the house. Remember, the man don't stay there no more. It's just the 15-year-old girl and the 42, 43-year-old mama. And her, she got maybe a baby brother or something. Ain't nobody there to defend her. Daddy gone out of the picture. Probably started another family. They're having trouble with that one. It's a bad situation out there for our people. And see, when I speak on these things, people don't like it because biblical principles will fix it. Go outside the Bible and show me how to fix pedophilia. Show me how to fix rape. You can't fix something that people feel like it's okay. Show me how to fix theft, murder. People feel like these things are okay to do. You know why? Because their principles are not the same as ours. So the first step in restoring the Black community is understanding your identity. First of all, we're not Black, we're Israelite. Second of all, we don't have the same God as everyone out here. And Christianity is not our foundation either. We got to deal with the Bible. Those are the first two things you got to understand. Once you can do that, you can start cracking the code. Let's get some definitions real quick because I said some things. All right, so we're going to get a definition. The first one is gentrification. Before we get into that, y'all know we like to deal with words, right? Words tell you what's going on. If make some sounds or point. Do you know what I want you to do? You need words, don't you? As soon as I say, hey, can you go over there? You halfway over there. Okay, I got you. That's way better than them sounds and pointing that you were just doing, right? Words tell us what we need. Words tell us what's going on. Words give us an expectation, right? And a foundation. So if I said, ladies and gentlemen, what am I really saying? Women and men, everybody sounds correct, right? Well, let's break down the word ladies. What's the root word in ladies? Lad. What's a lad? Anybody know what a lad is? A young child. Young child, right? IES implies that it's a bunch of them, right? Or plural. So lads, so young children. And what was the other word? What is that then? What's the root word in that? Gentle. What about Gentile? Mm-hmm. So young children and Gentile men. But y'all think that I'm crazy. Young children and Gentile men. Now I'm not gonna go no further than this because I try to make this a family channel to some degree. But I just told you, you live in a world where sin and wickedness is so much, it's surrounding you everywhere that you turn, that it's going to be hard for you to break this on your own. You need the spiritual help. You need the Most High. Because you'll go around and be addressed as ladies and gentlemen, and you'll think that that's respect. Respect means a high level of admiration, right? So if ladies and gentlemen is something that invokes or provokes respect, what is it in respect? We're respecting what? Gentile men with young children, right? I'm just saying. But in the world that we live in, that's actually okay. That's what y'all not understanding. That's okay. There's laws that's still being passed right now for pedophilia. They're working them out. All you got to do is do your research. I remember that at one point, I want to say, if you were over 18, you couldn't date someone under 18. Then it changed to 16 and up. They're trying to make it 13 now in a lot of places. 15 is crazy. Can you imagine? Ladies, lad, 15-year-old, and a Gentile man, let's say a 40-year-old man and a 15-year-old girl. That sounds weird, huh? Like, why would you even want that? Well, we live in a weird place. Y'all didn't know Walt Disney was weird? Y'all didn't know that Hollywood is weird? Y'all know what Hollywood is? It's a type of old Celtic wood used for magic. And that's what they made wands out of. Why do you think Mickey Mouse has a wand? I don't know if Mickey Mouse has one. I'm so... What? One of them have a wand. No, he had my age is the showing. Witches used to use them, and he was what's the called a middle? Yeah, he was a warlock. Yeah. Mickey Mouse? Yeah. He used to have the little hat with the little cape and everything. Yeah. They eventually took that away. The Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. What do you have to do to be in a club? You gotta do something, right? You don't just join the club, right? Even Sam say you gotta pay some money and something. You gotta do something. You don't just jump. I'm just trying to tell y'all because people jump up and we're gonna go to Disney World or go to Florida, and you're walking around nothing. I know, man. There's so many people that don't want to hear this. I know this video probably wouldn't even make it so far. If bless you. But here's the thing. It's so many people that plan their vacations and they say that I'm crazy, and they go walk around witches, warlocks, spirits, death, evil stuff all the time. And they don't do no research at all. No research. They don't look at nothing. They just say, Brother Real, I know he out there. Y'all know he reached. Now he tripping, but I'm just telling you what's going on. You do the research, you'll see. You'll see. So I just said all that to show you, you're living in a wicked world where words control everything. Hollywood, I just explained to y'all what that is. I just explained to you. What's a warlock? That's a male witch, right? The male is usually the one to go to war, right? That's the one that back in the day, the male was the fighter. So a male witch being a person locked for war, what kind of war you think it is? It's spiritual warfare. People wonder why they go through the stuff they go through, but these words gonna tell you a lot. So read the definition of gentrification.
The process whereby the character of a poor urban area is changed by wealthier people moving in, improving housing, and attracting new businesses, typically displacing current
Inhabitants.
inhabitants in the process.
We see that all the time. So, in a nutshell, what's going on with gentrification is they'll see areas where you got a lot of poor people, and they find out how to take advantage of it. Once you got a bunch of people in one area, they don't want us to come together, right? With a bunch of people in one area, all it takes is for one person with money and understanding to come in there, and they can do some things. So what happens is you see the area is changed by wealthier people. So this is gentrification is used to keep us separate. You see, it's a poor urban area, the hood. And what do? Slowly but surely, they start tearing down all the old stuff and bringing in wealthier people, businesses that we can't afford, and we ended up being those inhabitants that are displaced, meaning we have to find somewhere else to live. So gentrification matters. It also controls the pricing. It also controls what's sold in certain areas. We'll pick a basic store like Dollar General. Go to the Dollar General in the hood and go to one in a wealthier area. You're going to see that they don't even sell a lot of the same stuff. You're starting to see, you can see some of that with Walmart outside of the food. You go to the other section, the other side of Walmart, you can see basically the same thing. Where in a richer area, they got certain options that they don't have in the poor area. And that's what gentrification is. So that means they know where everyone is staying. And they're keeping up with it and decided, all right, at this point, we got to move some people in here. We got to split them up. It's been like that, though. The next word we're going to look at is demographic. So read what demographics is.
Demographics are statistics that describe populations and their characteristics. Demographic analysis is the study of a population based on factors such as age, race, and gender.
So you could say sex. It's just for this. He skipped it. He said
I just say gender.
All right, gender. Same thing. Demographics. This is one of the biggest things that people, they miss. They miss this bad. Demographics are statistics. So the first thing you got to understand is they are taking statistics. Everything matters. And these statistics describe what the population is like and the characteristics. We know who's over there. We know how many is of who is over there. We know what go on over there. We know what don't go on over there. And we do this based on age, race, and gender. I thought these things didn't matter. They tell you age don't matter. They tell you your gender don't matter. And they tell you that your race don't matter. And I'm here to tell you they all matter. They are telling you based on the words that they're using that they matter. They matter because they keep statistics. I ain't keeping up with stuff that don't matter. Why would you if it don't matter? But obviously these things matter to these people. So they're saying, look, we have to control what's going on in certain areas. And the only way that we can control what's going on in certain areas, we got to keep up with who's there and what they're doing. So let's say we got 60% of this area is women. 60% of this area is black women. Okay, the rest of maybe like 15% white, 10% Mexican, the rest other or mixed. But a huge number, 60%, is black women. Why would that matter? Well, what is it that I'm using to bring down the black woman? When we start getting into that, then it matters a whole lot to them because that's what they sell in that area. So, for example, now I'm not good at the names and stuff like this. I'm just going to be as super basic as I can. Certain types of pads, are sold predominantly in certain areas because the research has shown that black women are affected by certain kind. So if I'm trying to affect them and I put 60% of these women over here are black, put it in the Dollar General, put it in the Walmart, put it in the food line, the areas we know that they popular at because we see where they shop at. Statistics tell us this. Same thing for the black man. Same thing for the black child. Okay, this school has 70% black children in it. Okay, well, you know what they used to do back then? Those schools would get the recycled books, the old books and things like that, give them the pass down laptops and things like that. But they do it in a different area because they want to bring you down. Okay, so it's most of the black people over here. Let's put a little bit more pork on their menu for breakfast and lunch than the rest of the schools. Let's put a little bit more abomination in this school. Let's put a little bit more, let's put the police over at this school because we know that they're going to get into it and then we're going to have them arrested with records at young ages. People don't look at these things. And this is off the head. Like I said, it's so much statistic out there. That'll take a whole day just to present. I'm just giving you examples on why demographics work, why gentrification works, because they keep you divided with gentrification. And demographics show them how they need to divide and conquer. This is how they attack you. So the next word we're going to look at is redlining. This is it's a word, of course, but I almost look at it like a phrase the way that it is. But redlining is a discriminatory practice in which financial services are withheld from neighborhoods that have significant numbers of racial and ethnic minorities. Now, everything that I'm saying is just nonsense. Why is this out here? Why is there a definition or a word for a discriminatory practice? Who's usually discriminated on? Israel, the so-called black man, right? It's a discriminatory practice based on finances. And these finances are withheld from neighborhoods. How do you know which neighborhood to withhold the financing from? Demographics, because I know who's in what neighborhood, what age, what gender, how many of them. So I use demographics to see my statistics on who, what, when, where, and why. And I use gentrification to move certain people around and put them, all right, too many of them over here. This is the area I need them in. Put a Target over here. They don't like to shop at Target. Put a nice mall over here and raise the prices. Now a lot of them going to move from there to here, where we got 2 or 3 Dollar Generals, 2 or 3 Walmarts, and we got them all over one. Now that they got displaced and removed from one area, we can fix this area up for other nations. Put them in this area for now. Why? Because we have something over here that we want to try on these people in these neighborhoods. Do you know what that was called? When you try out something or you experiment, they do it in science a lot. What do they call? Where is it that a lot of so-called black people live? What are those areas called? The projects, right? Y'all ever heard of science project? What about Israelite Project. Yeah, I heard of that. Y'all know what a project is, right? So a project is basically when you're testing and trying something out on people. So why is it they call what we're doing, I mean, where we were living at as a people for the most part? Why do they call that the projects? That's what I'm saying. It's right here. It's not it's not me just making these things up. I come up with the term. What is the definition of a project? I'm gonna read it. One says a government subsidized housing development with relatively low rents. So that's for the poor. And we already talked about that, and I already told you the government did it. Now the definition tell you that. But what else does it say? It's an individual or collaborative enterprise that is carefully planned to achieve a particular aim. So that means a project is something that you have planned out for a specific outcome. And the projects that we live in are determined by demographics. And these demographics are controlled by gentrification. And it puts us into an area called the projects where they can try stuff out on us, and they put certain food in your projects, certain water in your projects. They put all these things in your areas. And why are they doing these things? Because they're trying things out to see if they can get the outcome that they want, which is destruction to keep us down. So when we're reading redlining, what's up?
It's glitching to the point it's not playing, it's actually pause.
What, internet out?
It's basically, no, it's good. That's good.
What, it stopped a little bit?
Yeah, it froze for a while, and when you was reading the definition, but
it's all good.
It's good.
So if it took a break, we were just talking about redlining, if it messed up, and it's controlled by gentrification is how they do it, and they know how to go about that based off the demographics. So this is how they end up in the projects. And we showed that the project is an individual or collaborative enterprise that is carefully planned to achieve a particular aim. So there is a particular outcome that they're trying to get when they put you in the projects. They're telling you this. And this is done by redlining as well. And it says redlining is a discriminatory practice in which financial services are withheld from neighborhoods that have significant numbers of racial and ethnic minorities. Well, we just read to you that the projects would have significant numbers of racial and ethnic minorities. We are called minorities, right? So redlining means they're going to discriminate on these areas. They're going to keep money out of your areas, and they're going to keep supplies that you need out of the areas. It says redlining has been most prominent in the United States. It has mostly been directed against African Americans. The most common examples involve denial of credit and insurance, denial of health care, and the development of food deserts in minority neighborhoods. So y'all see different ways that they do this. And to be honest, this is really not something that's hard to find and research. If you go and look, there's been lawsuits and things. They just keep this quiet because they don't want you to understand redlining, gentrification, and demographics. And there's other words to go out with it, projects and things like that. They don't want you to see these things. But if you do your research, you can see certain banks that have been sued or at least have been called out because there's been so-called black people with the same credit, the same requirements or prerequisites for achieving a loan, credit card, buying a car, a house, as other nations. And the other nations got it, and you got denied. Well, we know this is the Lord's work. I always got to throw that out there too. God said it's going to be real rough on y'all if y'all don't keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. But at the end of the day, all I'm saying is this is what we have to wake up to so that people can come together, because you're going to have to make your own way. Until the Lord does his part, which is that's up to him when he do that. You got to figure out how to make life easier by coming together. It's the hardest thing to do, but it's going to be the best outcome. And as you can see when you're talking about these things, they telling you credit, insurance, health, all these things are affected by redlining. And it's affected in a negative way on the so-called black man. Let's get some scripture though. Let's look at something. Give me Deuteronomy 28:15. Put that in there right quick. Deuteronomy 28:15. We good? All right.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So he told you, if you don't do what I said do, if you won't keep my laws and commandments, the same thing the churches are telling you don't have to do, you will be cursed. So the curse is coming from doing what? Not keeping the laws and commandments. Who are the people that's guiding you to the curse? Religious people. I'm not going to read all these things, but I do want just read the next two.
Curse shall be in thy city, and curse shall be in thy field.
What is this? You got the city and the field. That's the city and the country. And look at it. That's everywhere. Everywhere you go, there's going to be a curse on you. Go ahead.
Curse shall be thy basket and thy store.
Oh, yeah. So you're going to have to sell out if you want your business to flourish. Otherwise, if you are up under these curses, it's not going to do but so good. And we can continue. We can, man, when I tell you, it say curse be the fruit of your body. You know how many of our children are born with all types of stuff? I mean, every single one of these curses we can read and we can show where it fits. Still to this day. Curse shalt thou be when thou comest in, and curse shalt thou be when thou goest out. No matter where you going or coming from, that curse is still going to be on you. The Lord shall send upon thee curse and vexation and rebuke. Y'all see that? And all that thou settest thy hand to do, until you be destroyed and perish quickly. Like, I ain't going to read all this, but like I said, you read through these curses, you're going to see without a doubt that the so-called African Americans are none other than the children of Israel, and that we are scattered in the four corners of the earth as well. Just wanted to show that. Now let me get Deuteronomy 30. Because you're going to have people today trying to tell you all kind of ways to break the curse. People going to tell you we're not cursed. So we're going to read to you Deuteronomy 30:1.
And this shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among the nations.
You're going to remember the stuff called to mind. It's, hey, it's going to come to your mind. You're going to remember the stuff that I told you once you get back through them blessings and them curses. Go ahead.
Whether the Lord thy God hath driven thee.
Everywhere that you go, I don't care where you end up, it's going to come a time where you're going to call these things to mind. Go ahead.
And shalt return unto the Lord thy God, and shalt obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day.
That's what we're trying to do now. Return to him. Everybody's talking about God coming back to us, but they're not telling you you got to return to him spiritually for him to come to us physically. Go ahead.
Thou and thy children with all thine heart and with all thy soul.
You can't be halfway with it. There's a lot of so-called Israelites out there. They halfway with it, and that's the worst that you could do. You hear me? You talking about lukewarm, and he done told you about that. Go ahead.
That then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations, whether the Lord thy God have scattered thee.
So he said, I'm going to return and gather you. I'm going to change your captivity. He said, then will I what? Go, see, can you find that? That's key. That's key. I couldn't remember. See, can you find that? Read 3 again.
that then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity
Mm-hmm.
and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee.
Pause right there. So the first thing he said, I want y'all to see this. When you turn back to me and you get your children to do that, then I will turn your captivity. So he's telling you, you're going to be in captivity. You're going to be a slave. You're going to be at the bottom until I return. Y'all see that? You're not going to beat this. People telling you that you're not still cursed and you're not still in captivity. You're not still a slave. That's because they don't believe the Bible says, because he's telling you that once y'all return to him and keep his laws and commandments, one more time, then what?
And will return and gather thee from all the nations.
So then he's going to return. And when and so now that we understand we're in captivity until he return, what does he say he's gonna do when he return?
And gather thee from all the nations, whether the Lord thy God have scattered.
So how could the Jews that's in Israel today be the real one? When he said, I'm going to gather y'all when I return. When I return, because we know when he returned where he coming, right? It said his feet will be set on the Mount of Olives, right? We know where he going to be. So he's telling you, I will return and bring all of y'all that I scattered back to Israel. So if God has not returned, how is the ones there real? See, the pastor will tell you we need to pray for Israel and send money over there, but he ain't reading this. Why are we sending it to them? They're the children of God. No, they're not. The children of God will be gathered when he returns. So if you're still waiting on the second coming, you're still waiting on the children to return home. But they got you sending money and tithes and offering to a people that's actually oppressing us. Keep reading.
And the Lord thy God will circumcise. And if any of thine be driven out into the outmost parts of heaven, from thence will the Lord thy God gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord thy God will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed.
I told you.
And thou shalt possess it, and he will do thee good, and multiply thee thy father of thy fathers.
So he said, listen, I'm going to do you good. I'm going to set you back up. I'm going to give you to the land of your fathers. But that's happening when I return. So anybody that goes to that land and say they are Israel, say they are Jews, say they're God's children, if they went there on their own and God didn't bring them back, they're lying. If the Most High has not sent his son to return yet, and they saying, well, we're back in the land because we're Israel, they're lying. We just read that. And we know what you got to do to have that. We got to turn back to him. We ain't even seen that yet. We're going to keep reading though. Let's get Isaiah 42 and 22. Isaiah 42 and 22.
But this is a people robbed and spoiled.
So if I robbed you, what that mean?
You don't have it.
I took something, right? You don't have your stuff anymore. I took it. So he's telling you these Israelites are a people that have lost something. Someone came and took something, right? What did they take? They took our identity. They took our holy days. They took our land. These are people that's robbed and spoiled. Go ahead.
They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses.
Who fill up the prisons today? These things are still happening to this day. Israelites fill up the prisons too. Go ahead.
They are for a prey, and none delivereth, for a spoil, and none saith, restore.
No one wants to deliver you. Understand that. No one wants to restore you. Why do you think everybody gets something but us? Everybody talk about reparations. It will never happen on the magnitude that it's supposed to. You know why? It tells you for 400 years, y'all been trying to do this. And the Bible done already told you, none delivereth and none restore. It don't matter who you vote for. You can make America great again, or you can make America worse than it's ever been. You're going to be in the same position, Israel, until you turn back to the Father, keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, and he return and gather us. Keep reading.
Who among you will give ear to this? Who will hearken and hear for the time to come?
Mm-hmm.
Who gave Jacob for a spoil and Israel to the Lord, to the robbers? Did not the Lord?
Did not the Lord? He telling you, I did this. This is why it can't be undone. I did this, so I'll be the one to fix it whenever I decide to. That's what he's telling you. Go ahead, and we're going to see why.
He against whom we have sinned, for they would not walk in his ways, neither were they obedient unto his law.
So because they didn't walk in his ways and they didn't want to keep his law, this is why they're in the position that they are in. Go ahead.
Therefore, he had poured upon him the fury of his anger and the strength of battle, and it hath set him on fire round about. Yet he knew not, and it burned him, yet he laid it not to heart.
So listen, if you don't want to deal with the Lord's anger, you got to keep laws and commandments. As you start keeping them, we're going to Jeremiah 23:1. As you start keeping them, the laws and commandments will make your life easier and better, and it will be a relief in the captivity that we're in. There will be some relief. All right, let's get it. Jeremiah 23:1.
Woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, saith the Lord.
One more time.
Woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture,
Saith the Lord.
saith the Lord.
Saith the Lord, right? This ain't coming from me. So I listen, I'm teaching and talking about what I feel is right, what I think is right, how we look at based on what we can see, right? But it ain't coming from me if I'm reading it. It say, woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep. How do you destroy and scatter sheep? What is it that sheep do? Sheep follow, right? They follow who? The shepherd, right?
Yeah.
What is sheep known for? Let me say it like that. Not that they do anything. What are sheep known for, biblically speaking? Following what? The shepherd, right?
Yes.
So how would you destroy or scatter sheep?
Kill the shepherd.
Did they not kill the shepherd? And once they killed the shepherd, what did they do? They put their own paths out there for the sheep to follow. So one sheep go here, one sheep go there. Read it.
Therefore, thus saith the Lord God of Israel against the pastors that feed my people. Ye have scattered my flock and driven them away, and have not visited them. Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doings, saith the Lord. And I will gather the remnant of my flock out of all countries whither I have driven them.
Who gonna gather them?
Christ.
Go ahead.
And will bring them again to their folds, and they shall be fruitful and increase. And I will set upon shepherds over them, which shall feed them, and they shall fear no more, nor be dismayed, neither shall they be lacking, saith the Lord.
We're gonna have it all once we return. Once again, he said he's gonna be responsible for the restoration and the return. The only thing we can do is do it on a small level. Every time the Most High do something, you'll find out it's something that we're supposed to be doing too. On a small level, we should be coming together with like-minded people, keeping laws and commandments. And then what that does is it creates a small level of relief. And sometimes that's all we need to just stay okay until he returns and put us back where we're supposed to be. But once again, we see he's not just getting us from one country like the Jewish come from. He said he's going to bring us from all countries. So we know that it has not happened yet, which means the real Jews are still under oppression, not running the world and having banks and things like that. The real Jews are under oppression. And it shouldn't be a surprise because Revelations 3 told you that it's going to be some that say they are Jews and are not, right? But instead, they're going to be wicked. It's telling you that, synagogue of Satan. And then what did he tell you later? It's some that say they're Jews and or not. He clear with it. It's just for some reason. And that's New Testament. For some reason, we will not read that part. You know why? Because growing up in church, we were told to stay out of Revelations. Revelation was supposed to be scary and all that. What's scary about, hey, somebody stole your identity and I know that they did it. If you want to know who you really are, know this. You're going through tribulation. But y'all some spiritual people that's never gonna give up. He's telling you attributes, but somebody told you, nah, don't mess with that. Revelation's hard to understand. It's all parts of the Bible that's hard to understand. For me, to be honest, I don't understand for somebody to say Revelations. Go and read some of these prophecies and be looking around. This is why people don't believe, because they can't figure it out. That was we did verse 4, right?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna keep on going. Let's get Romans 13 and 10.
Love worketh no ill to his neighbor. Therefore, love is the fulfilling of the law.
So love is how you fulfill the law, right? Now somebody tell you all you gotta do is love somebody and the law is fulfilled. I don't know if that's just bad English or just, I don't know. But read it one more time. Read it one more time.
Love worketh no ill to his neighbor.
So they'll skip that part. Love means you're not going to do nothing bad to nobody, right? Because love is what fulfills the law. And they're going to tell you don't have to keep the laws because if you love, you fulfill the law. But how do you love? It just told you got to treat people right. Most of the people that say that don't even treat people right. If you working any type of ill to your neighbor, you don't have love. So now the law is not fulfilled. So even with the approach that they use it for, it still wouldn't be fulfilling. But we're going to keep reading. We're going to get us some understanding. Go ahead.
And that knowing the time, that now it is high time.
It's what?
It is high time to awake out of our sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than we believe.
So people don't understand. Salvation is a different thing than what people think. People always think of salvation means somebody went and got saved and they believe in God now and all that. It says salvation is near. That sounds like an event or something, or sounds like something that's got to happen. Something. Salvation is nearer than when we believe. So this salvation is when God is going to save us from our situation. You see how bad it is now? This is nothing compared to how bad it's going to be. It's going to be so bad for some people. Man, look, the suicide rate is going to be sky high. The drug and alcohol usage is going to be sky high. It's getting ready to get bad. And we're talking worldwide. This is the reason he has to come back and save his people. He's not saving you from whatever people thinking they saved from now. I don't really know what it is, but he's not saving. He's not here. The Savior has to come and save. And you got to be in a situation where you need to be saving. If you're already saved, if you're marking yourself already saved, you don't need him when he returns. That's dangerous. I'm not saved. Guess what? I know it sounds crazy to some people. I'm not saved. I want to be saved when he returns. If there's any type of saving that has taken place, it's because you don't have to die for your sins now. You still got to die for them if you continue. What you think the lake of fire is for? So he's telling you these are high times, and I need y'all to wake up out of your sleep. Y'all are walking around here doing all kinds of nonsense, not realizing we are close to the end, and it's going to come a time where you don't have time. Verse 12.
The night is far spent, the day is at hand. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness, and let us put on the armor of light.
Right. Armor is for protection. You need protection when something's coming against you, don't you? In the high times, in the end, is people are going to be coming against you in many ways. He says the night is far spent. That means the night is gone, right? And the day is what? At hand, right? Well, the night is the beginning of the day, at least for us, right? So that means he's telling you, you halfway through your day. That's how close we are to the end. You're halfway. This was in Romans. This way back then. So even when people say, it takes a long time, it's been a long time since this. Go ahead, keep reading.
Let us walk honestly, as in the day, not in rotting and rioting and drunkenness, not in chambering and
wantonness,
not in strife and envying, but put ye on the Lord Jesus Christ, and make not provision for the flesh to fulfill the lust thereof.
So make not provision for the flesh. Don't be trying to please the flesh in this point. You need to be trying to walk in the spirit. You're going to have to learn how to say yes. You're going to have to learn how to say no, because you're going to have a lot of decisions to make in the end. Look at the world we're living in. Just about everything you do, there's a decision for wickedness that you can make. Let's get Zephaniah 2:1.
Why do these be great?
Hmm?
Why do these be great?
Oh, about that right now. You know what italics is? We'll talk about that later. Zephaniah 2:1.
Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired.
I ask anybody out of the whole world, what nation of people do y'all see that seems to be not desired? That's us. Don't nobody want us. Everybody comes against us. They'll take things from us. We could be entertainers and slaves, but we are that old nation not desired he's speaking of. But what did he tell us to do? Gather yourselves together. But you can't gather together when you can't even get on one accord, because he said, how can two walk together unless they agree, right? In order to have some agreements, you got to get on the same page, right? And, one of the issues out here, what I mean, and I've seen it, camps, churches, I've seen it all over. It's hard for people to gather themselves together because a lot of people won't sit down and talk about their differences. Look how many camps you got out here. Why can't they gather themselves together and just figure it out? But you know what happens? Well, you can't have two heads. So you can't have two heads. So you're going to have people that's going to be like, well, I can't follow him, but I can follow him. Well, I'm used to being in charge, and it's going to be hard for me to humble myself and follow him. That's going to be the problem. That's why I say you're going to have to come together in small numbers. And if a bunch of us can do that, where we can work together and just respect one another outside of your numbers, you can still do it. But you see, this is what the call is. Gather yourselves together, O nation, not desire. Go ahead.
Seek ye before the decree bring forth, before the day pass as the chaff, before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you, before the day of the Lord's anger come upon you.
He said, look, you better gather yourself together before that moment, because it's too late then. A part of the judgment that the earth is going to get before he returns is still a part of the day of the Lord. It's still a part of his judgment. This is why things get worse and worse and worse all the way up until it happens. One more.
Seek ye the Lord.
Seek who?
Ye the Lord.
And see, that's where we broke down once again as the Black community, because we got a community called the conscious community. And they teach all kinds of stuff against the Bible, outside the Bible, and the crazy part, they say the Bible is based on fiction and belief, but then they'll give you stuff that hasn't been proven either. So anytime you see the hypocrite, what you got to see is, okay, this is how Satan operates. And see, what Satan does is he going to give you something that seems good, but it's going to have you worse than where you already at. Things might be bad, but it's going to be worse when he get involved. So whenever you see whenever you see the judgment is coming, and you see, like you say, hide because the day, you want to be hid in the day of the Lord's anger. You won't be able to do that if you're following the wrong doctrine, the wrong people. You're listening to everybody, and the book right here wide open for you to get you some understanding, but you don't want to do it because you heard what somebody else said and you didn't test it. You just went with it because it sounded good. Man, if you go into some of the stuff these brothers be teaching in this so-called conscious community, and all you got to do is read a little Bible and you'll see, oh, this is the exact opposite. This is a choice. This is basically, it's going to be light and day. You got to make your choice which one you think the light is, for sure, because it's the exact opposite. All right, we got one more we're going to get. Let's get Jeremiah 16:1. That's Jeremiah 16:1. Yep, Jeremiah 16:10. Jeremiah 16:10, verse 10.
And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt show this people all these words, and they shall say unto thee, wherefore hath the Lord pronounced all this great evil against us? Or what is our iniquity? Or what is our sin that we have committed against the Lord our God?
So there's going to come to pass a time where people are going to start waking up and say, man, what did we do for us to go through all of this as a people?
Then shalt thou say unto them, because your fathers have forsaken me, saith the Lord, and have walked after other gods, and have served them, and have worshipped them, and have forsaken me, and have not kept my law.
Have not what?
Kept my law.
I mean, it's right here. There's going to come a time where people are going to wake up, they're going to start complaining, trying to figure out, scroll a little bit. How we get in this situation? What happened? He said, you got to let them know. Your fathers did bad and y'all did worse. Don't nobody want to keep my law. Go ahead.
Then shalt thou say unto them, because your fathers have forsaken me, saith the Lord, and have walked after other gods, and have served them, and have worshipped them, and have forsaken me,
Go ahead, you go, keep reading.
And have not kept my law. And ye have done worse than your fathers. For behold, ye walk every one after the immigration of his evil heart.
What? Slow it down. Imagination.
Oh, I said, oh.
That's all right. It's all right. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. You got it. Okay. After the imagination of their own heart.
That they may not hearken unto me.
So what happens is people say, God knows my heart. No, you know your heart. You're the one making the decision based off of your heart. He ain't saying that. You said it. That's your choice. So you're walking after the imagination of your heart and saying that God is going to understand. And he does, but it's still your choice. I'd say, I used to tell people all the time when I see this, he does know your heart. That means he knows why you sin it. If I say God knows my heart, I didn't lie. He does. He knows that your heart wants to sin. He knows why you want to sin. He probably knows more than you do about your heart. Doesn't change the outcome, though. Go ahead.
And ye have done worse than your fathers. For behold, ye walk every one after the imagination.
No, just finish that out. Don't stop. No, right here, just finish that.
Imagination of his evil heart, that they may not hearken unto me.
Right.
Therefore, I cast you out of this land.
So therefore, I'm going to cast you out of the land. Now we know why we got kicked out of the land. Everybody wanted to do what was in their heart and not follow God. Go ahead. Sounds very familiar today.
That ye know not, neither ye nor your fathers, that there shall serve other gods day and night, where I will not show you favor. So he
said, now I'm going to send you somewhere where you're not going to have the favor of God on you. You are going to serve other people all the time. Now you got people that's going to tell you the opposite. But when you look at what's going on and examine life, these things are still happening. Keep reading.
Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that it shall no more be said, the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt.
Are they still saying that? They're still saying that, ain't they? Read it again if you don't understand. We got to understand that. Don't read it.
Read it.
Also, therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that it shall no more be said,
So he's saying the days are going to come that y'all are no longer going to say,
the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt.
so there's going to come a time y'all not going to be talking about how the children of Israel came out of Egypt. They still talking about that now. They're still making movies about it. They got cartoons, all types of stuff. They are still talking about the deliverance from Egypt. But he said there's going to come a time y'all not going to talk about that. Let's see what we will be talking about.
But the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north,
Mm-hmm,
and from all the lands whither he had driven them.
mm-hmm.
And I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers.
Mm-hmm.
Behold, I will send for many fishers,
They're going to send some fishers for us. Come on.
saith the Lord, and they shall fish them. And after I will send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain and from every hill and out of the holes of the rocks.
So he said, I'm going to send some people. He called them fishers and hunters because someone that's hunting is serious about, they diligently watching and looking for what they're hunting for. Same thing for fishing. Both of these things take patience, but he says, I'm going to send fishers and hunters to bring you from every place that I have scattered y'all. Go ahead.
For mine eyes are upon all their ways. They are not hid from my face, neither is their iniquity hid from mine eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And first I will recompense their iniquity,
I'm going to pay them for their sin. Go ahead.
and their sin double, because they have defiled my land. They have fouled mine inheritance with the carcasses of
Field. They have filled my inheritance. Mm-hmm.
with the carcasses of their detestable and abominable things.
So they get down in our land, all kind of wickedness going on, right? Go ahead.
O Lord, my strength and my fortress, and my refuge in the day of affliction, the Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things therein there is no profit.
So they're eventually going to be like, well, you know what? We know y'all really are the children of Israel. Our fathers lied to us, got us thinking that we the Jews. And the people that's not even Jewish is still going to be, they're Gentiles, so they're going to be saying the same thing. Man, we thought Jesus was white. They say that don't matter, but if it don't matter, then why'd you give him any color? There you go. It's going to be so many people that's going to be saying how we realized we were taught all these lies, and we inherited these lies from our fathers because this is what we believe. But we know now, we see now, and see God's deliverance is going to be upon us. And so they will see these things and they're going to know. I'll say this and then I get out of here. Because a lot of people look at things and they can see it a little bit, but they just can't figure it out. Remember, Egypt was hit with plagues, right? Right before the deliverance. We was in bondage in Egypt. And one of the last things that happened was plagues. And then we were delivered, right? But the world is full of plagues right now. They're just not talking about it. Your deliverance is near. What else we're going to talk about? I want to be clear on this. Everything that we discuss in the Bible, this is what we believe. This is the Bible. But some people believe these, are conspiracy theories. And then when somebody's trying to tell you something that's going on in the world, that's what they're called, a conspiracy theorist. Somebody who has put something together and decided, you know what? I think this and this and this. And I don't know. It's conspiracy theory. Well, a lot of the conspiracy theorists now are getting some credit. As a matter of fact, Noah's Ark. Y'all know that Noah's Ark was a conspiracy theory to people? Wouldn't that be a conspiracy theory? If somebody told you it's going to rain, and it's going to rain to the point that it's going to flood, so you got to do this, that, and the third, all the stuff he was saying, repent, come to the Most High. And then it starts raining, and everybody's like, I think that's just a conspiracy theory. Of course, somebody gonna say it's gonna flood. It's raining. So even those could have been looked at as a conspiracy theory until it flooded. And then by the time you realize this is not a conspiracy theory, this is real, it's too late. And you don't want it to be like that with God's laws and commandments. But as you can see, this is the way that things work. People see it. They can see a little bit of it, but then they'll chalk it up to conspiracy theory, and they feel like that I can't help it, son. This is part of my age, I guess. I appreciate it. They say it's a conspiracy theory. It's no big deal. And by the time they realize it's not a conspiracy theory, it's too late. Don't let repentance and the Most High and things like that pass you by as far as the opportunity. Go ahead and follow his law, statutes, and commandments today. That's the first way, or the first step, or second step of restoring the Black community. First, you got to understand your identity. You can't restore something you don't know what it is. The Black community is the Israelite community, the oppressed people of the world. You got to understand that for them to be restored, they have to know who they are, and then they also have to know that they belong to the Most High, so they got to keep law, statutes, and commandments. After that, they can start getting on one accord, gather themselves together, and from there, that's how you can do it. You're not going to do it on a big level. God already told you, I will restore you. I will gather you. I think it's in Jeremiah where he says, there's no one to plead your cause. So we're not looking for a big movement. It's not going to happen. Any big movement is not going to come from God, because he is going to be the big movement. So understand, Black Lives Matter, that's not of the Most High. Understand that. It's not of God. Any big movement is not of God, because you're going to have to do it yourself on a small level. And then he's going to come back and take everybody that's been gathering themselves together in righteousness and put them on the big level. He is the only deliverance. He's the only help. He's the only way. With that being said, hopefully somebody can, pray somebody's inspired to at least start repenting, keep law, statute, commandments, get baptized, learn his word, teach others to do so, and start coming together on one accord on a small level, and get it as big as you can on a small level, and get other people to do so. That's the lesson. Hope somebody got something out of it. Peace and blessings. Oh yeah, we are on the feast now. So we got the 7-day feast, which we're in the midst of already, obviously. And then we got the 8th day that'll be next week. I don't know if it's Wednesday, Thursday, but Thursday. Okay, so he don't know. He just wanted to guess two of them. He said the same thing I said, Wednesday or Thursday, basically. It's one of those days. I have to look at the website, or I have to start doing some math. So basically, 7-day feast. It's not really any restrictions on what you can eat, obviously outside of abomination. 8th day holy convocation, and we'll definitely be on here for that. With that being said, we are gone.